items of business for the audience. First and foremost is, I mentioned this last week, but after this Thursday, we're going to be moving from 3 podcasts a week to 1 podcast a week so that we can kind of put a little more focus on bringing you guys awesome guests and content. So we'll have another episode this week on Thursday. Then starting next week, all new episodes will air every Thursday, same time, 1:30 Mountain Time, 3:30 Eastern. As always, this is a participatory event. So if you're joining us on YouTube or Facebook or on our REDX website, if you have any questions for Travis, chat them in and we'll do our best to get them answered. So yeah, let's get started. Travis, can you give us a little bit introduction to yourself, who you are, where you came from, and how you got involved in what you're doing?
Yeah, certainly. So I'm as you mentioned, I'm a Facebook marketing strategist for the real estate industry. I started, I've been in the industry for 20 years, the real estate industry. I started off as a real estate agent when I was just 18 years old.
Wow.
And it was a challenging time because my first 3 years of real estate were awful. They were absolutely miserable as a new agent. No one really wanted to trust the 18-year-old with a, cheap suit that didn't fit. I remember very clearly, I was the youngest person in the company at the time. Everyone, was around in their late 50s and 60s. So I was brand new and young. They already had established businesses. There's around 150 people in the company. And everyone told me, door knock, cold call, right? All those kind of things. I door knocked on over 2,500 homes my first year and a half in real estate.
Wow, 2,500 homes.
2,500 homes. I was determined, but I also really wasn't savvy in marketing at the point in time because I just kept doing the same exact thing over and over again. I heard no 2,500 times actually because everyone said, no, I don't want to sell my home. And then I would just move to the next door and knock, do the same thing. And it wasn't until a moment where my parents saw that I was struggling, and of course, I'm 18, I'm still their baby in their eyes, right? So they took me out to lunch and they said, here's a book we think that might help, which was 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey, a great book. One of the things in there was basically you have to make an emotional deposit with someone before you make withdrawal. Otherwise, it's going to end up in a negative balance. And that struck a big chord to me, which is I had to provide value. And I wasn't providing value in anything that I was doing early on. So, fast forward, I start to market myself using these guides, explaining the home buying process and giving information, becoming more of a educator. Right? Information marketing first. Then from there, it builds reciprocity. And then I kind of stack upon that. Well, fast forward a little bit more with those strategies and then leveraging Facebook advertising. I'm now, fast forward into I'm around 26 years old. And I have 217 listings. I have over 112 million in inventory. I've got a team of 34 people. And then we grew it into 3 different real estate companies. So it was an exciting time. I became Realtor Magazine's top 30 under 30 finalist that same year. And I fell in love with marketing. I fell in love with the psychology of consumers. I fell in love with the art and the hustle of just putting things out there, seeing what worked, and then doubling down on it and keep marching forward. Well, I got some press from some of the things that I was doing on a national scale. And I started to get inquiries from people that were out of my market, out of my state. So new construction home builders in Texas, people out in New York. And it started to where I was consulting for them. And then I started to make, some money from it to the point where I said, you know what? I think I should be doing this full time. This should be my life. Right. Because I absolutely just loved what I was doing and what it was turning into. So I sold my real estate company. I then launched a software that was basically a landing page company for real estate agents. And then I started teaching them Facebook strategies, just free content online, which then grew to a speaking engagement. And that speaking engagement, Facebook was there. And Facebook saw what I was doing. And one of the head guys of the industry, of real estate industry, walked over and he said, "Hey, I'd love to talk to you more." Build a relationship with him.
Mm-hmm.
And it was then a couple years later that they asked me to, if I wanted to, maybe possibly work with Facebook. And I said, yeah, I enjoy my current job and what I'm doing now. So we ended up where it turned into, I became a consultant and an advisor to Facebook. So I sit on the Facebook advisory board for the real estate vertical. I fly out to Facebook every now and then and hang out with their team and discuss things that we're doing and different strategies. And then from there, we grew and we became a certified Facebook marketing partner. We've generated over 800,000 real estate leads from our Facebook ad campaigns for our clients all across the world, which has contributed to a little over $500 million in sales for our clients.
Wow.
And so, yeah, we've been really excited about everything we've been doing, and it's been a wild ride. And so now we love educating people about what we do and really implementing in launching new campaigns, and we've got a new software we just released. So, yeah, as of today, we're just kind of a tech company / advertising company focused on really helping real estate agents launch to that next level.
I love that. That is incredible. And I'll be totally honest with the audience. I didn't know a ton about your background. So you giving this full story right now, I mean, super impressive that you started out as a real estate agent, you struggled. I'm sure we've got a lot of agents out there who maybe are or were in that same place. But now you've grown it into this massive online marketing company. Super impressive. Are you still involved in real estate at all, or have you just totally transitioned into this?
I had to burn the boats in order for me to really hustle.
Right.
We had a property management company that had around 150 doors, and we had a really nice sales company that it was really fun. It was a great team. It was a small, kind of a tight knit group, and we really enjoyed working with everyone. But I knew that I hit a certain level where I needed to say goodbye to what was comfortable.
Yeah.
And I needed to get uncomfortable really quickly in order for me to reach that next level. So I had to, get comfortable with being uncomfortable for me to really kind of move into the danger zone where, things get a little bit more creative, but also that's where you grow. And in order to do that, I really needed 100% of my focus just on this new venture and path. So I said, I feel like I've accomplished everything I wanted to in my small little market that I was in real estate. Because I've been doing it since I was 18 years old, so right when I was around 29, 30 is when I decided to say goodbye to that chapter and move on to the next. I wanted to compete at an international level, and that's what we grew to.
That's amazing, man. That's awesome. Well, I love this idea of you had to force yourself to get comfortable being uncomfortable, because I think that's where most people run into their biggest roadblock is they say, well, I don't want to do something I'm not comfortable with, so I'm going to stick with what I know, regardless of how successful it is. And it's that hurdle of let me take that next step and push myself a little harder, because once you do that, then your discomfort becomes comfortable, right? You become comfortable with that kind of stuff. I think that's incredible, and I think that's what a lot of agents that tune into this podcast need to hear is that, sometimes you might need to ditch your old methods that you're super cozy with that maybe aren't bringing you the results you want, to try something new. I think that's incredible.
Well, a routine over time is, systems are good, routines are good, but a routine can quickly become a rut, right? Mm-hmm. And that rut can then put you into this groove that there's not a lot of wiggle room for innovation or the ability to be nimble. Right. And I felt that towards the end. Where I didn't really have a lot of expression from a creative standpoint. Mm-hmm. A lot of it was going into marketing, and that's what I fell in love with, and then that definitely outpaced the earnings of the real estate brokerage. But a lot of it too is mindset. There's this limited mindset that I saw in the industry, and I had it. I was totally guilty of it, where I couldn't move to the next level. I couldn't do the next thing because, I didn't know what to do. I wasn't, I didn't have enough money. I wasn't smart enough, right? I didn't, earn a college degree, right? All those different things.
Right.
And all of those can really be that little voice in your head that tells you that you shouldn't, you can't. And then sometimes it's backed up with, negative comments here and there from friends and family, right? Where everyone loves, misery, right? Everyone loves a bad story, and misery is company. And then you start to outgrow some of those relationships, and they try and kind of pull you back in and say, no, don't, stay with us. don't outgrow where you are. And so there was a brief moment of time where I actually, after I sold the real estate brokerage, where I knew what I had an idea of what I was going to be doing, and I was starting on that path, but it was this unknown that I was leaping into, and my whole identity had been wrapped up in that I was this young, kind of innovative and aggressive real estate agent that had a team, and I was a marketer. And then when that all went away, because I had to say goodbye and kind of bury that past life in a sense to jump to this new, thing, I became a little, I don't want to say lost, but I was just kind of trying to figure out, do I have what it takes to do something bigger than what I was doing before? And no matter if it's real estate or, if you're, in a plumbing company, right? Or if you fix bikes, right? Or whatever it might be.
Right.
There's this moment in time where you're really going to have to look yourself in the mirror and figure out, do I want to be extraordinary, right? Can I push myself, and can I, right? Can I actually do it? So I started swimming at the local pool because I grew up swimming. I love swimming. And swimming for me was like this meditation zen where I could really kind of just like go through and, work out thoughts in my head. And at one point in time, this is like my first month of going back to swimming. I see these guys that are making a ton of noise out on the far end of the pool. And there's this woman all dressed in black. She's got these black combat boots on with this giant knife in her boots. And she's super fit. She's got this military black hat on. And she's yelling at these guys. And I'm like, what's going on over there? So I get out and I kind of walk over. And, so it's me, and then it's a bunch of like 80-year-olds swimming, right? And then there's like this deep end where these guys are splashing around, and they're all tattooed up, and some of them, are just, completely ripped. Like these guys are monsters, right? Yeah. And I ask her, I'm curious, are you guys, because there's a base nearby. So are you guys part of the Navy SEALs? And she's like, no. I said, I guess special forces. And she said, no, honey, these are UFC fighters.
Wow.
These are champions.
Yeah.
So I look and I start to recognize like Nightmare Diego Sanchez and Keith Jardine, right? Like all of these, champions that I've watched, in the UFC fighting on live TV. And I start to go, wow, like this is pretty amazing. So she notices that, I'm kind of like in awe. And she said, do you want to swim with us? So I was like, yeah, sure. She's like, okay, come back next Friday and be prepared to swim. And so she's like, and if you make it, you can kind of hang out with us.
Right.
So I go, well, I'm not a fighter. And she said, I don't care. So I was like, all right. So I come back and I'm the only person that shows up in a Speedo and like a swim cap. Right. Like super nerdy. All these other guys are like in their fighting shorts, right? And they've got like, black eyes. They're all kind of beat up and no one's wearing goggles. So I'm about to get in. She says, no, wait a second. She gets a tow rope and she ties the tow rope to my ankles. It has a 5-pound weight attached to it.
What?
And then she goes, okay, now you're ready.
Wow.
What? So I dive in and I start swimming and I get about halfway across the pool and I sink to the bottom, right? And it's a big kind of a Olympic pool, really deep. Mm-hmm. So I sink to the bottom and I look up and I realize every other swimmer, all the other guys in there have the same thing, right? Their ankles are tied, they've got a 5-pound weight. and they're struggling, but they're staying afloat.
Mm-hmm.
So I jump back up and I, swim back into the top, and I just start swimming my heart out back and forth. The guys are getting out. Some guys are throwing up. There's one guy that cries and quits. I mean, it's a mess.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the workout, she says, "You passed. Congratulations. You can start swimming with us." And so it was an interesting moment because she had took me aside, after a couple of swims, and I said, "So what is this all about?" And she said, "Well, I'm a strength and conditioning coach for the UFC, and they send their top fighting champions to me for two reasons. One, it's high altitude up here, and these guys have to get a good aerobic workout. Two, swimming is the closest thing to mimicking drowning. I can push their mindset to think that they're going to drown and they can push through it. These guys in the ring, when they're getting choked out, when there's millions on the line, they can mentally tap into this moment in time and say, you know what, this isn't so bad. I can move through this. I can maneuver and get out of it." So I trained with her for about 8 months during that time, and learned a lot of mindset, and kind of, was able to grow out of that. And then everyone was training for a fight. I had to choose my own fight. And so I decided to choose a big open water swim, which was swimming from Alcatraz to the San Francisco Bay.
Wow.
Yeah, big open water swim that's, about almost 2 miles. It starts at 5 a.m., choppy dark water. It's cold. And I did it. I did it, and I did it. I was out of 200 people. I came in 19th. 44 minutes it took me to do the whole race, and was super pumped about it. And all of that gave me that confidence to move to the next level. Yeah. And that was one of those things that really made a big shift. So, what that kind of comes down to is, if you have a mentor, whether they're in front of you or they're online, or they didn't even know they're a mentor, because I have mentors that don't even know that they're my mentors, right?
Right.
Because, in today's digital media and influencers, we kind of, snack on little content by everyone. Find someone that inspires you. Find someone that's going to coach you or train you, whatever it might be, to get to that next level. And believe in yourself and take that next step forward.
I love that. And I love that story and the metaphor there behind. There are always a lot of agents out there who feel like they're trying to swim, but they're sinking. Yeah. Right. They probably feel like they're drowning, with the pandemic, with COVID. I think that a lot of them are in that position. And I love that. I love the metaphor there of let's, if you can push through that, if you can push through these rough times, or whether that's today or tomorrow, next month, next year, you can come out on top, and then you can have a good role model to work with. I love that. So let's use that, and let's kind of transition into some of this Facebook ad stuff, so we can help those agents out there learn to swim here. So what I want to start with here with some of this Facebook ad marketing is I want to address some of the common misconceptions about Facebook ads specifically. And I got this from watching one of your videos about the boost button, right? We're going to start real basic for agents who maybe don't understand a whole lot about Facebook ad marketing. You see that boost button, maybe you're putting some Facebook ads up, your listings, whatever you're trying to advertise. That boost button seems like the intuitive, kind of the natural way to go. But in a lot of ways, and in your video, you describe this as throwing money in the fireplace, right? How there are more effective tools on the back end that can help you get started and really get the ball rolling with Facebook ads. Could you kind of take what I've said there and roll with it? Maybe kind of give agents kind of a basic foundation to this, and then we can roll into some of the more technical aspects of that. Definitely.
So let's preface that with boosting your post is not Facebook marketing, right? And it feels it's easy, right? It's attractive because it's efficient and easy. Right. But when the reality of it is, and Facebook admittedly has come out and said many times that boosting a post is not advertising. But so boosting a post, essentially what it is it's engineered in the algorithm for what's called PPE. It stands for PPE, which is page post engagement, right?
Mm-hmm.
And page post engagement is engineered in the algorithm. The algorithm basically says, okay, we have this key objective you've identified and given us. This is our task. Our task is to find people in the algorithm that are more than likely to comment, like, or share on this post. And that it really has a very limited amount of learning, right? We're talking about the algorithm. The algorithm is a software. The software, it does about 1 billion different things every hour on the hour. It's amazingly intelligent. However, if you give it a specific task and you have in your mind that is supposed to achieve such greatness, like generating leads, and your phone is going to ring, and you're going to get emails, and you're going to get all these people engaging with you to buy or sell their home. That might be a little well, it's not going to happen, right? With boosting a post. So boosting a post is really just for people to comment, like, and share on it. And we see that time and time again where, we'll talk to people and they're like, oh, I don't, Facebook marketing doesn't work for me. I've spent $8,000 this year, on it. And so, well, what were you doing? And well, I was boosting every post that I had. And we go, well, that's why, right? It's attractive because it's so easy to do, but it's not Facebook advertising, right? It's not the right way to do it. So, it has its purpose for certain things, but you really have to go into the Facebook ad manager, which is, a little bit deeper inside of Facebook. And the Facebook ad manager essentially is where you create campaigns. And that's where the billions of dollars are, where Facebook makes, and its advertisers make, right? There's advertisers that make a ton of money, companies that are spending a ton of money, but they don't do it boosting posts, right? Boosting posts is just burning cash. It's not going to make any kind of deals work for you. So that's where you need to go, is inside the ad manager. That's where there's key objectives that you can choose. They're clearly identified to tell the algorithm to do a specific task and find people within the audience to reach out to them, show this ad to them, and it's going to be a highly relevant ad based on the targeting. And then they're going to most likely accomplish the task that you engineered by choosing the objective. So for instance, there's video views. Well, if you want people to watch your video, choose video view objective in the ad manager, right? It's going to find people that more than likely actually watch the video. That's what it's optimized for. Right. Lead generation, right? It's going to be using Facebook lead ads, lead generation optimized just for that, finding people that are actually going to do that. So, really try to keep away from hitting the boost button. I know it's super hard because it is easy, and a lot of people, they want to go the easy route, because anything that's hard, right, is where people are going to back off and say, oh, I don't want to do that. But where things are hard, that's where the most amount of opportunity is. So,
right. So key takeaway number one here is that boosting does not equal marketing.
Correct.
Is that safe to say? And that just like everything else on Facebook, they're going to put in front of you what is easiest, most appealing, right? It's easier to click that one button, throw some money at it, but like you said, you're kind of throwing your money away. So you mentioned you can go into the ad manager, you can kind of target audiences with this criteria. What type of criteria can people choose from? And what would you recommend maybe for a new agent who is new to this Facebook ad manager? Who should they target, and what's a good place to get started there?
Absolutely. So, the low-hanging fruit in any kind of campaign, really, I'm going to start off with friends and family as kind of a sphere of influence campaign, which is a lot of people don't realize that your referrals are what makes up a good majority of your business. Right? In most businesses, but especially real estate, where your past clients, if you don't have any past clients, it's your friends and family, right? It's your SOI, your sphere of influence. So you're going to receive, around probably 35, maybe 40% of your business is going to be from friends and family. So why not tap into that and really start to market to them? So there's a part of the Facebook Ad Manager called Custom Audiences, where you could upload a CSV file, an Excel sheet of their first name, last name, email, phone number, city, state, zip code, all of those details. And all of that data is going to go into Facebook and you upload that as a custom audience. Facebook is then going to do a data match. They're going to find all those people on Facebook and say, yes, we have a Facebook ID user match, and we're going to then now find those individuals. And now we've built a custom audience that you can run ads just to them. And that's probably the easiest way just to start, because what we see a lot is, and this happened to me, many times years ago, which is that I would get so caught up in trying to get new business and new leads and new people that I would forget about my friends and family. And I'd go show up to a birthday party or a wedding, and a cousin or an old friend would tell me about how they just bought a house, right? And they're so excited about it, right? And you're kind of, standing there trembling a little bit, not quite sure what to say, because you don't know who to be mad at, right? Is it them or is it
Why
you?
didn't you sell with me?
Right. What did you sell with me? This is what I do. This is what puts money, in the bank. And if more times than likely, it's because you weren't properly marketing to them, right? They forgot. And there's other people that outdid it, right? They got in front of you first. So you need to really kind of think outside of the postcard, and recipe, kind of monthly mailers that only have a lifespan of 4 seconds from the, mail to the trash can.
Right.
And think more about frequency.
Yeah.
Frequency and scale, but frequency also what's within your budget. And with Facebook marketing, you can reach everyone in that custom audience that are friends and family. You can reach out to them multiple times a month with only spending, maybe a couple $100.
Yeah.
So let's say that you have, friends and family, 4,000 people right in that list. You could guarantee hit every single one of those people. Each one of those 4,000 people can see you at least twice in 1 month with spending maybe only around $200.
Yeah.
Versus a postcard campaign, which that's probably going to be, $1 each at least, you're going to be spending $4,000. And with any kind of print marketing, you need to be doing that years and years. I was in a mastermind where they actually released a study. This guy had been doing this for 20 years. And they have the data to show that it takes about 6.5 years of doing consistent monthly mailers, right, before you really can penetrate a market and it starts to pick up.
That's crazy.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't. If you're going to do the long haul, long run, go ahead and do it. But Facebook ads is also just a great inexpensive way to get started and just to get in front of their friends and family, and then start emailing them and call them. And you can have what's called the frequency illusion, this omnipresence that you're everywhere.
Right.
And you can see that they go,
mind, right?
Right, exactly. It's you start to see things. Well, the average consumer sees 5,000 ads a day, online and offline, right? We're inundated with ads all the time, right? And there's a study done on that recently where they could only loosely recall about 4 of those ads of brands at the end of the day. Right. And then about a week and a half later, they could only really remember about 1. Well, that 1 was using retargeting. Retargeting is keeping in front of those people again and again and again. And that's what custom audiences are for. That's what the strategy is, of just making sure that you're this digital mayor to your friends and family, where you start to do Facebook Lives, you record that live, then you run it as an ad to your friends and family, right? You do an open house and it's your listing or someone else's listing. You record a video about it. Then you upload it and you run it as an ad to your friends and family.
Right. So you're kind of getting to my next question here, which is, okay, let's stay on the sphere of influence topic, but we actually have a couple people chatting in asking the same thing is, what do these ads look like, right? You kind of spoke to open houses, Facebook Live videos, but what are kind of all the options? I mean, do you post your listing, an ad for your listing, or is it just getting your face out there and letting people know that you're in real estate?
Definitely. So there's a methodology framework that we've built after spending millions of dollars in ad spend and seeing success out of different campaigns, that we started to see a pattern. And we saw this pattern with other campaigns and other advertisers outside of the real estate industry. And so I built this framework that's called B.U.R.S.T. And B.U.R.S.T is basically an acronym for key content pillars that you're going to fill, right, with content. So think about it this way. B.U.R.S.T stands for brand awareness, or a brand story, right? Brand introduction. And what you're doing with that is you're creating some sort of video, or it could be just a post if you're not comfortable doing video. And you're telling a brief story, right? It's kind of like your why story, your commitment, where you came from. For example, we did one for a company that was over 100 years old, 400 agent company in California. And they're originally a bank. They're a family bank before they became a real estate brokerage. And it was back when they actually had like the horse and buggy, type of banks with the old stakes, right? So we actually used one of those photos, and it was about that. Their brand story was, we are over 100 years old, third generation real estate family. It started off as a bank in this community, and we're always there for you, and we continue to evolve, right? So that was their brand story. Yours can be a little bit different, right? If you're brand new into the business, your brand story could be, about how you love the city, right? And why you love the city, or why you love the market that you're in. It could be all about adventure. It could be, about, the different restaurants, right? It could be more of a foodie kind of angle. Right. So try and play up your story. There's marketing is stories, right? We all sat down in primitive times around, campfires and told stories and did chalk drawings on the wall to talk about, what we had done that day. And it resonates with people. So brand story, that's one. Mm-hmm. And then from there is going to be you, which is untapped opportunity. Untapped opportunity is typically things that people may not have access to, or they don't know where to find it. And that's going to be property centric typically. Mm-hmm. So you're going to bring them back and then to delivering something that is of value, that is going to be focused on, let's say, a list of off-market properties, coming soon listings. Could be a list of foreclosures, right? Undervalued. There's all sorts of different things you can kind of come up with, but typically property centric. Think carousel ad. That carousel ad is, announcing, see all the properties that have just hit the market in the last 7 days. Don't miss out. These sell fast. Click here to see all the homes and photos now. Right. And it goes to your property search website, and they can kind of check that out. So that's you in the B.U.R.S.T, right? Yep. Next is reciprocity. Reciprocity is really focused on building this authority figure that is coming from an educator standpoint, right? When we all had questions in class, who did we ask, right? Our teacher, our professor,
the
right?
experts.
The experts, right? Whoever was positioning themselves as the expert.
Right.
So if you position yourself as the expert, but you do that information marketing combined with you're giving them an item of value that they can actually activate and use, they're always going to think of you, right? They're always then going to then reach back out to you when they're in need about that particular subject matter. So you think about ebooks, think about guides. So reciprocity is going to be building that connection with someone that says, download this ebook on the top 5 mistakes first-time home buyers make in today's market. Learn how to avoid all these pitfalls and mistakes, right? Or
helpful content that's kind of branded towards you or your company, your brokerage, right?
Right. And again, it positions you as the authority figure, right? So make sure you're then positioning information out there that is a mixture of buyers and seller focused, right? How to sell your house for more than it's worth in today's market, doing these 30 steps, right? So give them information that's going to then benefit them. And that's typically what we call, it's unchained. It's not a lead magnet. You're not having them opt into something because this is your friends and family that you're, running ads to. You already have their information. You just want them to go back to your blog article, or it could be a video, whatever it is. You just want them to see it, right?
Okay, this to me, this kind of reads like another top of mind opportunity, right? Where when they think, oh man, I need a real estate expert, who should I go to? They think of you because you provided that value, regardless of whether you're not beating them over the head with buy with me, sell with me. You're just being helpful regardless of whether or not they're going to sell with you right away.
Exactly. Yeah. In the whole, I cringe every time I see a postcard or a Facebook post of, if you think of buying or selling, right? Think of me.
Yeah.
it instantly just repels me, right?
Yeah.
It
gives you that sales breath of, oh, they just want my money.
Yeah, exactly. It's that commission breath, right? Yeah, exactly. And there's no value given, right? We got to think back to that moment that changed my life, which is that one paragraph that you need to make an emotional deposit with someone before you can make withdrawal. Otherwise, it's going to end up in a negative balance.
Right.
So the same thing, I door knocked on those 2,500 homes, heard no 2,500 times. I was giving absolutely no value. Right. I was just asking for the business. Take.
Right.
And we see that all day long, right? There's so many people that are just constantly badgering us, asking for the business.
Yeah.
Instead of offering an item of value that is a benefit that helps you make better conscious decisions. And then you see that person as a reliable resource and a thought figure, an authority figure that I should work with them because they've already proven their worth to some extent. So think that kind of mindset. Now we move into social proof, which is the S part of B.U.R.S.T. And social proof is overwhelmingly powerful. This is a really powerful thing. Social proof is one of those things that can change the direction of everything. Your whole campaign can be social proof. Forget about everything else. Just do this if you have it. So testimonials, if you have testimonials, right? Video testimonials are great. Zillow testimonials, if you have those, whatever it might be, right? A case study.
What if you as a solo agent don't have any of that?
That's a great question. If you don't have that, Andrew, I would suggest that then you kind of think from micro to macro, right? Micro is about your clients if you have them, then move out there to more of a macro kind of perspective, 30,000 feet up, and go, well, the team I'm with, the team I'm working with has sold more than 30,000 homes. Sure. I can piggyback off that story, right? I can say, again, my 1 year anniversary of working with this team that's closed over 30,000 deals and helped over, 35,000 families, relocate and purchase a new home, right? Whatever it might be, start to piggyback on the success of the company that you're with, the team that you're with, level their story up and position it, right? Whatever it might be. And if they don't really have a great success story, then start to build upon some of the things that you have done, and that could be some of the things you've helped with. I've talked to over 55 people this month that are looking to buy or sell. Even if they didn't say yes or didn't close with you, tell the story about what did happen. Right. And so it's amazing that, I've been able to talk to all of these people and jump on the phone with all these people. The market is hot. And if you can't tell that success story, tell the success story of the market. Right. Homes are closing record prices. Right. Homes are closing at, above and beyond compared to last year. There's been over
interest rates have never been lower, or that kind of stuff. Right.
Right. Tell the story of the data. Right. Last month, 37 homes sold, for over 2.3 million, which means today your house might be worth, X amount. Right. So social proof and those kind of things is very powerful. And then once you do get some success stories of your own, make sure to get it either on video, in writing, or you can document the story before it gets stale, or before that they, figure out that, we've got other things to do and we're not going to fill this out or talk to you, or we don't have time. Do it in the magic moments when they're happy and excited. And then you can tell your own story, like a house that you sold for over asking in a certain time frame. That's a case study, right? How I sold this house for 10,000 over asking in only 48 hours on the market. And then you go over your listing presentation and how you did it and what it is, right? All of that information is going to be social proof that's going to position you as the authority figure, right, in your market. From there, the T part is all of that boils down to build trust. And that's the foundation that you're working off of. So these are key content pillars that you can build so much content around. You can use all of the listings that were sold in your company and have a carousel ad. This is sold, with a little sold bar in each one. Run that and say, so excited that my team, that I'm working with has closed, 10 homes in the last 30 days, whatever it might be. Even though you didn't sell them, still be able to talk to your broker, your team. Do you guys mind if I tag you in this post and mention, that you sold? I'm going to turn it into an ad, and I'm going to run it to my sphere of influence and some people in the community, right? They're going to be like, yeah, tell the success story, right? Do it. So think of as yourself as a media company. There's HGTV, right? There's, all sorts of, there's Selling Sunset, right? There's all sorts of different TV shows online where they're, have millions of subscribers and people watching. In real estate, often we might think that our job is boring, but real estate is sexy in a way. It's content. Give them a peek behind the scenes. Let them look about what you're doing. Make it interesting, right? How we're staging this home. This is the day one of this listing. We're just staging this house. And the reason why staging is important is because stage homes actually sell for 17% higher and faster than empty homes, right?
Wow.
And you know that, because they kind of like pull into the story, right? Use that as marketing and start to push that out. So do Facebook Lives, do videos, document what you're doing, turn it into content, and run ads to your sphere of influence. And you're going to see while you're doing that, email them newsletters, email them updates, and then occasionally email them a link to that ad that you just did so they can get hit in both places. And what that does is it triggers these two different responses in the brain, right? One, it creates this high frequency illusion, this omnipresence, where they say, oh, that's right, I saw your ad, but then also got an email about it. And then now's an opportunity for direct one-on-one communication. Email, respond, reply to the email back to you about, hey, my sister's actually deciding to leave and move and relocate. Would you mind talking to her and seeing if you could help? So put things out there as ads, and don't always expect that people are just going to instantly reach out to you. You also have to make sure that you have a high level of frequency and communication, that you are outputting, a lot of text messages and emails out to them for an opportunity for them to reply.
Right.
So, right, the ads are your billboards in the sky, and then down below, right, the emails are you actually door knocking, right, to the people that are seeing your ads. Right.
Right. Incredible, man. Well, I feel like this is the perfect kind of content for our audience who we talk on this podcast all the time about the importance of sphere of influence. And I think people are so used to calling their sphere of influence, but also worrying about bugging them and worrying about all these things that kind of is inherent with a one-on-one conversation. Right. Like you can maybe have 3 conversations that aren't real estate related before you get to that 4th one that is. But again, it always kind of feels like that's where you're headed. And a lot of people don't like giving that feeling. And I know, it gets a little weird when Mike keeps coming to me and, well, remember, I'm a real estate agent. Remember, but like you said, the omnipresence of, without explicitly saying, remember, I'm a real estate agent, you're always kind of there in the back of their mind on their Facebook feed where they're checking every day. I love that.
But and it's it's easy to get burnt out. It's easy to get really burnt out doing all those calls, door knocking, right? Whatever task that you go 1,000% on, right? You can reach burnout, and burnout's a real thing, right? And you don't want to get burnt out in real estate because it's all relying on you, right? You have to go out and hunt and look underneath rocks every day for the deal, for that money. So, if anything, leverage technology, right? Automation is key. It's golden. That's how my real estate company was able to really get to that next level. Is we had automation tools. We had different tasks that were oriented and systems, because if you find yourself doing the same thing again and again and again, and you get that feeling of anxiety, or you say, I don't want to do it. It makes me tired, whatever it is.
Mix it up a little.
Mix it up, yeah. Can you automate that task, right? Can you set up a Zapier, Zap Tool with some other software? Is there a VA that can do it for you? Is there, a $39 a month kind of technology that just does, some of that heavy lifting? And then leverage, the rest of powerful tools like social media, because like you mentioned, calling everyone on your list all the time, you can do that and it's healthy, but you might run out of things to say. And what you want to do is be able to have conversational topics where they say, hey, I saw that video, and that was really great about you talking about that biking trail, right? I never knew, or it's, funny story. Like, I saw you in that hot air balloon, or, I saw you at the open house. My grandmother used to live just down the street, and we would go back by that house, and it was so creepy. Whatever it is. I mean, as we got right before we got on the call, Andrew, you'd mentioned to me like, hey, I saw that video that you did of me throwing bundles of cash into a fireplace, yep. Right? And that's the power of Facebook marketing, is that we had a topic, boom, right off the bat to be able to dive into. Now, if you were a client or a potential client or friend of the family of mine, then that would solidify that bond a little bit more and create an opportunity for warmer engagement, right? So it'd be a little bit easier for me to say, man, that's awesome. Hey, by the way, we are having this, new thing that we're doing about home valuations. Would you mind if I gave you one? Just kind of see what your home is worth in today's market. I know you're probably not thinking about selling, anytime soon, but I just want to keep you updated on where your home might be in today's market, because you could use it for refinancing, or, if you guys decide to, let's say, take some money out and buy a rental property, maybe it's time that we actually kind of investigate your options. Right. So that is leading more to a yes, versus if we didn't have anything to talk about and you didn't see any videos and you didn't see me out there and hustling and doing what I'm doing, right? So it just creates so much more opportunity for a warmer engagement versus that knock at the door. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I think I'm buying and selling. No, I'm not. Fine, thanks.
Right. Right. I love that. I love that. It's the healthy mixture, right? Still use your REDX leads, and maybe if you've got a dialer, maybe if you've got a good door knocking campaign going on, use that, but leverage that and enhance that behind the scenes with Facebook, that omnipresence. I love it. I love it. Well, Travis, we're running out of time here, but and I feel like we barely scratched the surface. We started with sphere of influence, how to run that, and now I feel like we can dig so much deeper. So maybe we'll have you back on. But before we take off today, do you have any final thoughts, any lasting advice that you want to leave with our audience today?
Yeah, ask yourself this question, which is, what is your relationship with time? And we're all on this earth for a very short amount of time. We're not reminded of it every now and then. But we have to really think about, our parents, our friends, our family. How many summers do you have left with them, right? How many winters do you have left with them? How many Christmases or whatever it might be do you have with them? And don't go all in where you kind of shut off life and then you just are 100% work. I did that for a long time. Where I woke up one day almost a decade later, and I was like, man, all I do is work, and this is not fun. And I kind of missed out on some of the big opportunities. And so I started going, well, how do I win back my time? How do I do this before I, have a wife and kids, and before I start to get really, my life moves on and gets bigger and more complicated. So I started automating tasks. I started getting into different things and softwares that would do things for me, right? I started really tapping into experts. I started to try to be everywhere I could without me physically being everywhere. And, on an everyday basis, people see me online, while I'm sleeping or doing other tasks. There's probably about 3,000 to 4,000 people a day that see me. There's probably about 300 people a day that get emails from me, right? On average. Those are things that you can do. And then you can, go on a bike ride with your family, and then, work in the afternoon and do some things. So leverage technology, automate as much as you can, reach out to experts, get a mentor, and believe in yourself, because if you think it, you probably can.
Love it. I love it. Those are great final words to end on here. Travis, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing so much valuable information with our audience. I'm going to do a little plug here for you, if you don't mind, to learn more about Travis and elevated real estate marketing, to even take, a much deeper dive into the conversation we had today. Go to elevatedrem.com. Is that right, Travis?
That's right.
elevatedrem.com, or go to Elevated Real Estate Marketing. Search for that on Facebook. We'll be sure to post those links in the chat and on Travis's landing page here for anyone who's interested. And yeah, we're gonna have you back to go a little bit deeper and maybe expand outside of the sphere of influence conversation here and get some more lead generation. But yeah, so any of you watching or listening, if you'd like to continue this conversation online, you can go check out the REDX Elite Prospectors group on Facebook. Or if you're a customer, head over to the forum, the forum.theredx.com. We'll have a conversation about this there too. If you're new to this podcast and you want to catch up on past episodes, learn more about social media, revisit this episode with Travis, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, SoundCloud, wherever you like to listen. Just search for the REDX podcast, subscribe to be notified, and you'll get updates on every new episode. So thank you again, Travis, so much for sharing with us today, and we'll see everyone on Thursday.
All right, my pleasure. Thank you, everyone.